Let's suppose we want to add 3/4 and 3/8. What you need to find is you need to find the common denominator. In other words, you want to find the smallest number that both 4 and 8 divide into evenly. Now that has a name. It's called the LCD, which is going to be the least common denominator. Okay, least common denominator we want to find here. So in other words, the smallest denominator that would make these both the same. Now, the way that you find this is, first of all, you look at what the largest number is, and you take the largest number divided by the smaller number and see if that works. Okay. Now, 8 divided by 4, that does go evenly. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that tells me that the larger number is going to be your LCD. So I know I want to make both these denominators an 8. All right. So the 3/8, I don't have to do anything to that fraction, but I do have to do something to the 3/4. So I have 3/4 here, and I want to add 3/8 to it. Now I want to make the 4 into a 2. So I'm going to do a multiplication step, and I'll multiply the 4 by a 2, and that's going to give me an 8. But you can't just multiply the bottom one by 2, because if you did, that wouldn't be the same fraction as we had before. And in fact, if you just made it 3/8 by multiplying it, then essentially what you've done is you've multiplied by 1/2, which is not what you want to do here. Instead, you want to multiply by a power of 1. 2/2 can reduce to 1, and we know that 1 times anything, you'll just get the same thing that you started with. 3/4 times 1 is 3/4. So if I multiply by 2/2, essentially I'm just saying I'm multiplying 3/4 by 1, and that's not changing what the original fraction is. Now we are going to multiply across the top, across the bottom, and you're going to get 6/8, because multiplication is the operation. Now for this first part, you remember order of operations, multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. So we're going to multiply first. And so now we end up with two fractions that have the same denominator. That now allows us to add these together. We have 6 plus 3 on top over 8. Remember, when you're adding fractions with the same denominator, you just keep the denominator and you add the numerators. And then you get 9/8. So 9/8 would be your answer. That would be common denominators there. Now, subtraction works exactly the same way. We're still trying to find the LCD, the least common denominator between 8 and 6. Now, what makes this problem different is if I take 8 divided by 6, I get that doesn't go in evenly. All right. So then what you're going to do, this is the easiest way I found to do this, is you just take the 8 and you just add 8 to itself. And you just keep adding 8 to itself until you reach a number that divides evenly into 6. 8 divided by 6 doesn't work. Let's add an 8 to that, and we get 16. Well, 16 divided by 6, that doesn't go in evenly either. Okay, so then we're going to add another 8 to it, and we get 24. Well, 24 divided by 6, yes, that does divide in evenly. So now that tells us that 24 is going to be our LCD, the least common denominator. Okay, so this time I have to do an operation to both these guys here. So both of these fractions, we're going to, okay. So now we have both of them like this. We want to make both of these equal to 24. Remember, we said LCD was 24. Let's write it out. LCD equals 24. So that means both of these need to be 24. Well, 6 divided by what gives me 24? That's going to be a 4. So we do top and bottom with a 4 there. 8 here. Both of these will have to be a 3. And now we're just multiplying. Remember, multiplication comes before subtraction. So we're going to multiply each of these out separately. 5 times 4 is 20 divided by 24. Then we do this as a 3/24, like that. All right. So now notice that we've turned these into common denominators. All right. So to do that, we're going to keep the denominator the same. We're going to subtract the numerators. Okay, so we don't have to show the 20 minus 3 step like I did before. You can just go ahead and put 17 down there for that. And then that would be your answer for that one. So the most important thing, remember, is you need common denominators in order to do that. So what happens if you happen to have three fractions? Let's do one with 3 fractions. Okay, so we have that. 3 fractions here. All right, well, we're still going to do exactly the same thing. We want to find the LCD. In this case, we might have to multiply all 3 of those by something. Okay, so now we take 10 divided by 8 doesn't go in there evenly, and 10 divided by 4 doesn't go in evenly. So we need to find the LCD here. So again, what you do is let's start out with 10. Okay, so 10 doesn't work. We just mentioned that. Let's add a 10 to this, and let's try 20. 20 divided by 8 doesn't go evenly. Even though 20 divided by 4 goes in evenly, it has to go in evenly with all the numbers. All of them have to divide in evenly. So 20 doesn't work. Okay. 30. 30 divided by 8, no, that doesn't go in evenly. All right, let's add another 10. Let's try 40. 40 divided by 8, yes, that divides in evenly. 40 divided by 4 divides in evenly, yes. So now we know that the LCD is supposed to be 40. So now I want to make all these denominators turn into a 40. So to do that, we'll multiply the first fraction by a power of 1. Okay, and then we have 5 over 8. It's powered by 1 also. And then we have this one. That's going to be another one as well. So again, all these right here, the LCD is going to be 40. Okay, so in order to make that 40, 4 over 4. 8, I'll have to multiply by 5 over 5. This one, then multiply by 10. Okay, 10 times 4 is 40. 8 times 5 is 40. 4 times 10 is 40. We'll make all of them 40. That's the LCD we want. Okay, now we just multiply each of these individual fractions together. So 4 over 40 we get, 25 over 40, and 10 over 40. All right, so now we have all the denominators the same. We're now just going to add all this together on top. 4 plus 25 is 29. 29 divided by 10 is 19. So here's what we do. We're just going to put a 40 right there. What am I doing on top? I'm doing 4 plus 25 minus 10. Okay, I'm doing all that on top. So 4 plus 25 minus 10 we said was 19. So we get 19 over 40, and 19 over 40 now, that's already in lowest terms. We can't reduce that at all, so that's going to be our answer. For all these, you want to look for whether you can reduce them or not. In this case, we couldn't divide any of those. 17 over 24 is reduced, and 19 over 40 is also reduced. Okay, so here's another one that has 3 fractions. Again, this process is the same. You want to get the LCD for all 3 of these. Okay, so start with the largest number, 12. 12 divided by 8, no, doesn't go in there. So we know 12 is not the LCD. Let's add 12 to that. We get 24. 24 divided by 8, yes, goes in evenly. 24 divided by 3, yes, divides in evenly. So now we know that the LCD here should equal 24. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take 1 over 12. We'll have to multiply that by some kind of power of 1. This one by some power of 1. And then we have a minus 1/3 multiplied by some power of 1. All these we have to make 24, the LCD. In order to get this 24, we'll have to multiply this by a 2. 8 times 3 is 24, so we'll do 3 over 3 here. We need an 8 on this one, 8 over 8. Notice that I'm multiplying all these by a power of 1, so I'm not changing the original fraction at all by doing that. Okay, so this is going to be 2 over 24 plus 9 over 24 minus 8 over 24. Okay, so I have all those right there. The common denominator is 24. Okay, so you just keep the denominator there. On top, we have 2 plus 9 minus 8. Okay, 11 minus 8 is a 3. So we get 3 over 24. Now, if we take a look at that, this is not going to be in lowest terms. The reason why is because 24 and 3, 3 is a factor of 24. So if you see that happening, you might have to do a reduction step on this. We didn't have to do that for the previous two ones we did, but this one you do. Okay, so 3 divided by itself is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So 1/8 is going to be your answer. So you always want to make sure you write your answer in lowest terms. It'll if it says simplify, write in lowest terms, then you do want to follow the instructions and do that. So 1/8 is your answer.